Is the truck saying something, Rado? Do you hear it? Finish me! Finish me! And I thought I heard it too. Sounds like he wants to be worked down. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Got the solid axle swap truck here, and that's a 2005 2500 HD pickup that is going to be solid axle swapped, 6-liter, 5-speed NV4500 transmission, and also going to be turbocharged as well. So anyway, we're working on it right now, and in this video what I'm going to be doing is going over trying to get the clutch figured out. So this is an external slave NV4500 from a 95 and earlier application. So the gentleman said that it was out of a tow truck that I bought it from, and who knows, it's pretty honest to come out and say it's out of a tow truck. You know, it's been used and abused that way, so I doubt he's lying. But anyway, we'll go ahead and I gotta get the transmission yanked out of here so that way I can get my fork positioned just right, so that way I'll actually have some throw out. So I'll show you what's going on with that. And I'm working on my clutch pedal, and you can see here's the brake pedal. This was an automatic truck before, so I got my brake pedal cut there, so it's the same size as the clutch pedal. This clutch pedal came out of my 96 two-wheel drive half-ton pickup. That I also put an LS in, but I switched that truck over to an automatic transmission, so I had a clutch pedal out of that to put in here and modified it. And got the shifter coming up through the floor and all that. So right now my issue though is just between the LS engine and my earlier model NV4500, that they don't just bolt up. You do need to have the correct throw out on that if you're going external slave. Internal slave would probably be the same anyways, but anyways, you got to have the correct spacing to get the throw out for the clutch. And right now I just don't have enough throw to be able to do this, so I'm going to tear the transmission out of it and show you guys how I'm going to remedy that. So this is what's happening with my throwout here anyways, and on the engine side of it with the clutch and the flywheel, pressure plate, all of that, everything on the engine side of things sits in about a 1/2 inch. Not exactly a 1/2 inch, but 400 thousandths is what the spacer is on the crankshaft that they make to make up the difference for these. So that's what you got to come up with basically for extra throw to get enough clearance to get that to disengage. And so you can see here what I've done is a little heavy molestation as per usual on my fork here, and I went ahead and I just cut it right there, then a piece of flat stock in. You can see that I just offset it, get my difference right there. And your throwout bearings snap in there. Oops. Make sure that you get everything lined up here. And so then this is how that's going to work. And then that will hopefully give us the correct throw. So, and then you can also see what I also did was I cut it right here too on both sides, and I just bent this a little bit, just put a little bit more of a U into it, so that way that also give me just a little bit of extra throw there. But that's what I did to make up the difference here to be able to use this transmission. A lot of people I know, or I've noticed anyways, what they do is they get an adjustable throwout bearing, which is fine if it works and everything, but this one come in the clutch kit, so there's no sense in not using it. So that's what we're doing with that. And yeah, like I say, just modified that fork a little bit to work there. And on the back side of the motor, here's the clutch then that we're looking at. So as far as the flywheel on this, I used a 2002 Camaro with a 5.7 flywheel, so that's LS flywheel. The big difference there is that you have the full contact area for that clutch. If you get the flywheel that would normally come on a 4.8 liter truck, the clutch kit that you get for one of these transmissions will only ride on so much of that flywheel because there's just not enough surface area machined. On the Camaro flywheel, you have the full surface on that flywheel, so you'll get full engagement both on your clutch and your pressure plate with your clutch disc. So anyways, that's what I did there. Downsides of that is that you're about 400 thousandths in from where you would normally be on a small block Chevy setup. So from there we got to figure out a way to make up that difference. A lot of people also like to pick on the pilot bearing or pilot bushing in there, that if you use an earlier generation transmission that you can get away with just leaving it half out, and that's what I've done on all my vehicles so far that I've done this on, and I haven't had any issues with that at all. If you just leave that kind of half out of your crank snout, then you'll be able to use it as it should, and it will only engage about halfway as the pilot onto your input shaft. But I haven't had any issues on mine giving me any fits, so I guess we'll keep you updated if I do. But that's what we got going on back here on the engine side, and so we're going to try to get everything all reinstalled and then see if I can get a working clutch here. just a shot from the underside, and we're going to be working on the exhaust next, trying to get this crossover all figured out. So pay no mind to the oil line, that's not hooked up yet for the turbo. That's going to have to get hooked up when I get that adapter next, and that'll all get routed correctly along with the clutch line. That's not all going to be laying on the exhaust, but we're going to try and get this crossover. I'm going to try and tuck it as close up as I can here to the bell housing, and that way you got as much room for all my links and my drive shaft. So got everything in here so I can try to make sure there's proper clearance. So drive shaft's in there, and got the clutch all hooked up and everything like that. So we'll try and get that crossover figured out next. So far I've got just a V-band clamp here on the turbo manifold side. That's what come with the kit. So anyways, I've got the flange in there. We'll weld the pipe in, and then over here I've got just the stock manifold. And so off of the donor truck there, whatever, at one point I cut that off, so I got that to start with over there. And then in the back of the black truck here, the race machine, we got some pieces bent up. We'll try and get that crossover piece together. And continue on here with this build. So it's starting to look a little better and better. Things sitting where they need to sit. So, but I got the turbo on there with the oil drain hose just on. It's not actually connected down here yet, so we're still going to have to drill into the pan and get that figured out. I got the intercooler and piping ordered, so that way we'll be able to get all of that. And I do want to make this crossover out of stainless at some point, but at the moment my TIG welder's still not here that I have ordered, and I didn't order any material anyways, so I'm just going to go ahead and make it out of just some conventional aluminized pipe. And I got a flex section I'll put in the middle too, so that way we'll be able to take that on and off quite a bit easier, hopefully, and it'll last a little bit longer than a hard piece. And then from there we'll see what we can get done otherwise, but mostly just going to try and work on that flex. so then that's the basic idea for my crossover pipe. So I gotta get her all finish welded here everywhere. So I got just one butt joint there, and then everything else slipped together. And so I'll also put the other ring down here to clamp on to try to keep that as true as it can be when I weld that up. And use the original flange over there. A little bitty flex, just a couple inches, and we'll try and get it all welded up. Then I also got a whole bunch of Go Fast goodies. Got a blow off valve, wastegate, whole bunch of intercooler piping, couplers, clamps. I also got a inline radiator filler neck so I can get rid of my coolant bottle. We'll just run that instead. And I think that's pretty much it in that box. A whole bunch of goodies. Then I've also got my intercooler here, so I couldn't tell you much about it other than it's an Amazon special. And it's shiny.